All right, guys, so welcome. I've got Morten here. He is what we might call one of our Divi engine power users. I definitely want to hear from him, and he's got an interesting story to tell about Divi engine and the different products that we have, as well as how he helps us improve those products. I want Morten to tell us a bit about how he started with Divi. So Morten, welcome. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you very much, Roby. It's nice to be here. And well, how did I get started with Divi? Oh, that's not that long a story, actually, because well, if I tell a little bit of the story, what happened before that, maybe that leads me into talking about how we chose to work with Divi and stuff like that.
Okay.
I studied multimedia design many years ago, and I've always been like into computers and web design and things like that. Well, I'm from Denmark originally, so I ended up moving to Thailand, and I lived like one of these digital nomads. I thought that was a cool lifestyle. You know, you can work from the beach, you can sit with your laptop there, and I did some websites, I did some WordPress, I did some different kinds of things. I met my then girlfriend, my now wife. We had a kid, and we decided we have to start a business because we're in Thailand. The living expenses are pretty low. You know, we can do some cool stuff, and I already have some skills with WordPress and different things. So we decided to start a little web agency here. And then we had to find out where can we actually get these lifetime membership, because we knew we had been building websites before for a long time as freelancers and things like that before we started the agency. And then we had to kind of figure out where we could get the most for the money, And we found Divi was pretty good for that. You get the lifetime deal and all of that stuff. Did a lot of research, and we had used a lot of other plugins that were pretty expensive to use, not plugins, almost themes as well, and things like that, page builders and things. So that's kind of how we ended up using Divi. I thought, wow, that's pretty cheap, and then people are talking nicely about it, and and then I just ended up buying the lifetime from the beginning. They're on a big journey right now with the new development of the new version of Divi and all of that stuff. But things really kind of took off, because I thought when I got Divi first that I could do whatever I want, because everybody talked so well about Divi and how great it is, and you can do almost anything, and you can get a long way. You can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But eventually you're gonna bang your head into a wall and find out, oh, this is not something I should do. I have to write a lot of code myself. I need some other plugins, and that's actually where I came across your plugins, Divi Engine's plugins. So that was because I had a client who wanted to have a web store and e-commerce site, and I had done those before, but I had never really made it like really detailed and really he wanted something that was pretty complicated. So I looked into what works with Divi, and then I found Divi BodyCommerce, and then I saw, well, I have this project coming up. I'm just gonna buy it. I'm just gonna have a look at what plans you have, and then I got the lifetime membership deal with you. So I actually didn't work with BodyCommerce for a long time, because I found out you had other plugins as well, which I kind of fell in love with as well. So,
nice, man. Now you're in Thailand. That's very exciting. I've been there a few times. Whereabouts in Thailand are you living?
We started out in Chiang Mai about 8 years ago, but now we moved to a place called Prachinburi, which is about 2.5 hours from Bangkok.
It sounds like it's off the beaten tourist track, which is kind of cool.
It is very much. Yeah, it was a strange, happy accident on the way that we kind of ended up here. So
now, being in Thailand, I'm very curious to hear about how you go about getting clients. Do you work with the local markets? Like, tell me a little bit about how you go about that and how you secure those.
Yeah, we don't really have any clients in Thailand. We actually have most of our clients in Denmark and Europe, but mostly in Denmark, which is like 98% or something like that. Wow. I've been working with communication and web design before. So I had some contacts, I had a network, and it's basically word of mouth, people tell us about it. We can also do it basically for lower price, because everything is cheaper in Thailand. We don't need to make that much money as you do in Denmark. So that's another incentive for picking us, and people want to save money.
Yeah. And that brings up an interesting point for me, because those people that you knew, your existing network, wouldn't go to you or stay with you if you didn't have a really good service that you offer them.
Right.
I would imagine, a lot of that retention is based on the support that you offer.
It is definitely, but also actually the biggest worry of the client is, how are we going to communicate? We can't sit in the same chair. We can't we can't sit at the same table, at the same chair. But then the pandemic came along, and people learned that you can actually work from home, and with these pretty fast internet connections all over the world, and camera and good audio quality, the communication is through video, but I also just record screen recordings. plugins, sent to my clients to explain to them, to make like, okay, if we have like a mock-up of something, this is the version A, B, C, D, you know, which one do you prefer? This one does that, and this one does this and stuff like that. They've been very happy about that. You know,
That's
it just
awesome.
works so well because if you know, they can always go back in the video and see what did I say there. You know, they don't
Yeah,
forget what I said. So it
exactly.
really works well.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get to this a little bit and hear from you what tools you use to make your agency run more efficiently. I feel that on our journeys here as Divi developers, you know, we come across a lot of different plugins and stuff like that. I've certainly run an agency myself in the past and had those struggles myself. And then when you get to a good product, you're like, okay, I'm going to stick with this. BodyCommerce is probably the flagship product that you use, and I think Divi Machine also. But with BodyCommerce, it's obviously, like you mentioned, a very big plugin, and that it comes with its own set of complexity. It offers you a lot just out of the box, but of course, to get the full use out of it, you dive into a little bit more complex situations. So how did your learning journey go with BodyCommerce, going from, let's call it a basic BodyCommerce user to a power user?
I would say through trial and error, I guess. Well, the thing is, you need to have a project, first of all. You can mess around with it first and try out different things, but it's not until you actually have a real project that you find out how things work. I watched all of the videos from back. You did some, I remember, and Peter did some, I guess, many years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. I watched them as well, you know, but of course, you have to continue developing the plugin, so it doesn't exactly look like the same and stuff like that, but you can still get a lot out of it, you know. So that's basically how I started, just watching every single video that I could, and then I tried to play around with it. And then when I couldn't get it to work, I contact your support, which I have to say is amazing and great. Always get a great answer. And as you said before, I've been using many tools and many plugins and bought many things, you know, and this is definitely one of the best, if not the best support that I've ever had from any
that's so great to hear.
Like so but that's what you're known for as well. That's what people say all over the place. So
we try. I mean, know that like without the customers like yourself, and especially the customers that speak up, we don't have the opportunity to do the right thing, right? And make sure that the product is working, because as a developer outfit, I'm certainly not a dev, definitely none of those things, but I can build this stuff. We're stuck in a mindset and a bias of, well, the users want this. So we build this thing out. And I think we're slowly learning now with time that let's build the most basic, almost MVP product, and then listen to the users and have them take the product where they want it to go.
Right. Yes.
I think
that's an awesome way of doing it.
Yeah. And it took us a while to learn that. I'm not going to lie to you. Divi membership, I think, is a good example of that, because initially we launched the plugin without a way to have a free tier subscription to content, which of course is so valuable to people to make lists and market to people for the upsells and that type of stuff. It definitely feels like the right direction. And hearing from you now, it's kind of making me feel like, okay, well, we're doing the right thing.
I've noticed other plugins that are doing great, and other page builders and things like that. They have like this open, like an open roadmap, like and I know you have that as well. People can suggest things and you can upvote it and stuff like that, and then you can actually see what is planned, what is in development, and what is up next and things like that. That's really nice. So you kind of feel like you're part of the family. You feel like you're a part of the feedback loop, which I have to say with you guys as well. You know, I feel like you're family somehow, in a weird way, you know, friends and family, because I talk to you, and every time I find a bug, even though I don't have time to report it, I'm going to report it because I want your product to be better. So that's sometimes I'm also a bit harsh on you guys, because I want you to get better. That's usually family. You know, you love your family the most, you know, so you want them to get better.
Exactly. So, that it's like a parent, right?
Definitely.
It's like you just want the best for your kids, so you want to do the best thing,
right?
Yeah, I definitely want to get into the support pieces. Great feedback there. I really appreciate that transparency with the roadmaps and stuff like that, and we do our best to kind of keep in touch. And then you're also a part of the Facebook community, and you're very active there also, where you're helping other users, not just our Facebook page, but the Divi Engine user group. Just wanted to thank you for being so active there and being such a helpful resource. I feel like, you know, down the road, you've got some mod potential there, you know, to kind of help the rest out. I do want to hear more about what type of sites or clients do you normally go for? I know that you mentioned most of them are in Denmark. E-commerce is a big part of your business. Is that the only sector that you target? Is there specific e-commerce?
It's not specifically e-commerce only. It's like we do WordPress and WooCommerce, obviously. And most of the sites that we make are just very simple websites for people. And it's usually, we have like smaller individual clients who start their own business, entrepreneurs and things like that. And then we have like mid-sized businesses and stuff like that. We don't have like the huge ones up there, you know, because they're hard to get. And it's I'm not sure we really want that, because I really like working on a personal level with the people, you know, and having a personal relationship relationship, not too many people involved. That's kind of how we do it. I do some custom work. I'm mostly a front-end developer. I'm not really that much into back-end. That's why I have you guys.
There you
and
go.
WordPress. Anyway, but yeah, I know a little bit PHP, but not too much. But I'm pretty good at JavaScript and front-end and stuff like that. So I also have like some we also do some custom work for like small little apps and things like that. I did a lot of music related. I'm educated
cool.
on the Royal Music Academy of Denmark, but I figured out that I couldn't make much money that way, you know. So I started developing websites instead. So I actually had this YouTube channel for a long time where I was teaching people how to do audio and music related JavaScript coding and stuff like that.
We want to share that with the people. So if you want to plug your YouTube channel, you should definitely throw that out and shoot it to me afterwards, and we'll link it in the description for this video and put it on the bottom.
So sometimes we get some custom work where it's just like I create something in Vue.js or something like that, or React,
cool.
And then we hook it into Firebase or something like that.
I'm like, some of my latest tutorials, I've been focusing on some JavaScript libraries and stuff like that, which I just always find fun. It's the type of stuff you want to play with, and you just, when you enjoy what you're doing, you throw a little bit more passion behind it. So like you with the music, if you're working with a music client, you're probably throwing that extra 5% in there.
That's true. Exactly. You do it for the joy, you know. And to be honest, of course, it's more interesting to work on your own project where it's your own little baby than it is to work on client's project. You can still kind of twist that somehow. So it's really important to do that, I think. Yeah. To have something next to your normal day job that you really, really are passionate about, because that passion jumps to other projects as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Cool. Well, let's start wrapping up here. You've been so informative so far. I'm going to ask you two more things. Tell me about a big problem that you had on a project, specific problem that Divi Engine helped you solve. If you want to tell me a little bit about that, if you can think of one.
I was doing this website with an e-commerce site called Vinloungen. It's in Danish, it's the wine lounge, and he sells wine, red wine, white wine, all of that stuff. And he also sells like kitchen gadgets and things like that, different kinds of stuff. And like when you sell alcohol online, there are lots of, like, especially in Denmark or Europe, I guess, you have to be 18, you have to do all of this stuff. But he also has some demands that you have to buy at least 6, you know, there are so many different special demands for his in the specification for his website, right? And I just had this, why can't I use ACF with BodyCommerce? That would help so much. So I was into this because on the different loop layouts that I made for the products and things like that, I needed to have some special information. So I started using the shortcodes that comes with the ACF, right? I did all of this development myself until one day I write to support, why can't I do that? How do I do this? I don't want to use attributes for everything. I want to use ACF as well for my product, you know? Yeah. So Pavak, one of your amazing supporters, tells me, why don't you just use Divi BodyCommerce and Divi Machine side by side? I can do that? Really? Yeah. I had no idea I could do that. So I don't know. So that just solved everything, you know, everything got so much easier that I could use all the different modules in the loop layouts and things like that. So that was kind of an aha moment for me that solved a lot of problems, you know, because I had to sit and do all the styling and all the coding and all the everything with the shortcodes.
I love hearing stories like that. And, you know, shout out to Pavak. He really is an awesome support fella there. Definitely. And he's really brushing up on his coding skills. He's always throwing snippets at me that I add to the website. So he's really a great asset to Divi Engines. I really appreciate that you brought him up specifically. Last question really is going to be, you know, for anybody that's kind of starting out and have their mindset on this digital nomad dream and want to start their own web development agency or marketing agency or whatever, what advice do you give anybody like that trying to get started and have the same success you do?
Well, it's depends on where you are in the world, because obviously it's very different to start a business in Thailand than it is in Denmark, where I'm a citizen and I'm not a citizen here. So there's some specific demands. So all of the paperwork, all of that stuff that you have to go through, that is pretty difficult. And that is something that you just have to get done if you're starting a business in another country. Yes. But like, I don't really have anything smart to say about this. I just deliver some good service, talk to people, smile, be happy, do the best that you can, you know, and learn along the way. It's very important that you learn along the way, always, you know, so you get smarter and you like keep in touch with the client as well. I don't really have any tips and tricks on marketing and things like that because people have just been like, it's word of mouth. People just been coming back. Yeah. So that's awesome. I don't really have any.
I mean, so what I'm getting from you is A, do it. Don't sit and dream about it. Actually go and do it. And then B, just deliver exceptional customer service, and C, keep learning. You never know everything. There's always somebody that knows more than you do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. You know, Martin, if you could just kind of give me a little bit of a rundown on your business, a little plug that we can throw in here so that people know who you are, what you do, and maybe get you some business.
Our agency's name is Webfar, Webfar. Web is the web. Far means dad or father in Danish. So webfar.dk is our address. I just started a YouTube channel for our agency where I'm checking out different plugins and stuff like that. I don't have many videos yet, but hopefully I will be able to help other agency owners in the future by sharing our experience.
And what's that at for the YouTube channel?
That will be a Webfar agency.
Excellent. Okay, well,
I'll send you some links.
In the description. We're gonna cut this up. We'll definitely put it on lower thirds for everything here. You know, I just really want to thank you for taking the time to meeting with us and with me and talk a little bit about your success journey and how the small part even Divi Engine had to play in that. It makes us proud to see people like you get ahead and do super well. Definitely want to thank you for that.
I want to thank you guys for making some of the best plugins I've ever used and having some of the best customer service. So thank you too.
That's amazing, man. I really appreciate that. Have a good day, man.
You too.
Okay, we're not really cutting off now. I just did that for the video.